ain't of that 95% that don't have nothing to show for it after this is over with. And it's 98% of fighters don't have nothing to show. I say 98.
Dang, that's high, Deontay. You think so?
You tell me another fighter that's outside that don't need this business. It's only a handful. There's fighters at the top of their game that's still asking for advances from promoters and managers and stuff like that. And I ain't here to call out names. That ain't none of my business. But it's true, while promoters and managers, they can go on 100 years and support their family, put their kids through college, be multi-millionaires and never took a punch a day in their life. But you talking about the product that brings and put the fans' asses in the seats, the person that risked their lives for others' entertainment, in the end don't have nothing to show for. The only thing they have to show for is a high medical bill, Parkinson's and speech impairments. That's all we have to show for in the end. And get the pat on the back and to say, oh, he was a great fighter during his time. I said, to hell with that.
You have just heard the source of why people love Deontay Wilder and why people dislike Deontay Wilder. That's a double-edged sword right there. And it always is when there's so much truth in it. Okay? Now we listen to what he said. We know what Deontay Wilder is. We know what he's saying is no stretch. We know he's not lying, regardless how anybody want to feel about it. While he's sitting up there talking about these people getting rich off these boxers and stuff like that, let me ask you a quick question. Who's his promoter and who's his manager? What umbrella is he under? What did Deontay Wilder just get done complaining about? About waiting a whole year to get this back end money. How he needs the money up front. Okay? Nobody over there at PBC got a bigger ticket than Deontay Wilder. They've had to pay him the most over there. All right? So Deontay Wilder's know what he's talking about. So when you hear stuff like this, I'm going to tell you why people don't like people like Wilder to speak like that. Because it caused people like Errol Spence to do what he did. Yeah, go outside at Al Heyman to seek some new management so he can cut this new deal and get a bigger piece of it instead of having to follow the playbook that Al had for him. Because in the end, that playbook favored Al. That's why in the end, Errol Spence said, I feel like I'm being played. Can you put it together now? Once again, something else that I've talked about that you see unfold in front of your eyes. PBC, Paramount, I mean, you've heard about all the layoffs. You know what's going on. You know what's going on with Wilder. Truth is, they can't afford to pay Wilder this, and that. Everybody's trying to find a way to get theirs at this point. At this point. And somebody brought it up, and I really didn't think about it. But they were showing how PBC getting that fight for Charlo to fight Canelo was to flex on Errol Spence that you should have been cool and been patient. We'd have took care of you. Now we gonna get this fight to your homeboy. You see what we could have did for you, but you wanted to go do your own thing. This is why they don't like people like Wilder speaking the way that he do. Because he get people like Errol Spence to start to think and want to move independently. Once again, that is the source of why people like Wilder. And at the same time, is the source of why people hate him. And that's more on the industry type of things. The way he talk is not good for him in his industry. But they got to deal with him because what other heavyweight we got? So he has them at a disadvantage. Also. So it's not like you just throw away and get rid of them. We don't have no heavyweights in America. Sorry. Not like that. Not what Wilder brings. So Wilder's kind of holding his own Excalibur a little bit. And that's why he's able to speak the way he does. And one thing I like about Wilder, he's always said that he ain't need the sport. He's always, whatever Wilder did, he done set himself up. And good for him. You know, especially out there where he live. I know land is cheap and you know what I'm saying, all that is great. But that's why Errol Spence went and got new management. Y'all want to try to ignore everything from PBC shutting down from Paramount laying up. Y'all try to ignore all that, and all this played a role in how this stuff went down. All this stuff played, and at the end, the person that he needed to get away from was Al Heyman to get it done. Which in the end, I have to give props to somebody who really don't deserve props, but in the way that they do. I'm going to give it up to Errol Spence, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it's very clear to see if Errol Spence didn't strike out on his own the way that he did, Terrence Crawford would have never got that shot. That's why everybody's still talking about this fight, because it was a fight that truthfully we wasn't supposed to see, because the boxing world truthfully don't give us stuff like this. But it took Errol Spence to have to man up and go outside. Other than that, we never would have got this fight. And at the end of the day, whatever his reasons was for doing it, we still have to be happy. I know it's a little bit unfair that he even did it at all. Because really, he didn't have to. But if he didn't, he wouldn't have got his hands on this piece of change like he did. And he know that. That's why he thanked Crawford. Because in a way, it kind of freed him up from boxing and Al Heyman and all that other stuff. You know? So when you hear Wilder talking the way that he's been talking this whole time, this is why they want to put a muzzle on people like him, because it get the people to think. This is the same thing that happens towards the masses and anybody who speaks truth. They don't want you to wake nobody up or rile nobody up, or them get the idea that they can stand up or have a backbone. So shoot them down and shut them down. That's what happens to all the real in this world.